Yeah. Damn, kid, always down. While my chin always pointed to the ground. Hang my head when I'm walking around. I wipe tears from my face on my bathroom towel. Until a typhoon came through when I met you. Cloudy days, let the sun through. Now I smile at the sunroof, yeah. Maybe I'm crazy, I'm out of my mind, but nobody makes me come to life like you. Said everything that I do, just know I do it for you. Maybe I'm stupid, ignoring the signs, but you're on my brain like all the time. It's true that even when I dream, just know I'm dreaming of you. Yeah. So I'm fighting for the honor, guts, glam, glory. Without you in my life, I'm feeling more less than Dory. You're everything I ever needed, way more than a shorty. When we're together, all the boring things aren't as boring. So you're the first thing on my mind when I wake up in the morning, and you're the only one I'm checking if you see in my stories. You're the reason why I work out. Gotta get what you deserve now. Best biceps and quads, the best sense in jobs, a new house, garage, a poolside massage, some new shoes, barrage, with anything that you wanted. You don't gotta work, just sip on a gin and tonic. And if you need a break, we'll take a trip to the tropics. God damn, you can't say I didn't try. Maybe I'm crazy, I'm out of my mind, but nobody makes me come to life like you. Said everything that I do, just know I do it for you. Maybe I'm stupid, ignoring the signs, but you're on my brain like all the time. It's true that even when I dream, just know I'm dreaming of you. Maybe I'm crazy, I'm out of my mind, but nobody makes me come to life like you. Said everything that I do, just know I do it for you. Yeah, just know I do it for you. Just know I do it for you. And I'm being serious. Snapchats, Instagram stories, even the freaking music, I really be doing this shit to impress you.
What's going on, everybody? How we doing out there? Alex Cuesta Show, bringing it to you every single day, or at least trying to. How's everybody doing out there tonight on this November 23rd, 2024? We have about like 45 minutes left of the 23rd, but I consider it the day of the 23rd. So I'm here. Obviously, you see David's not here. The new job, time schedule, going overnight, kicking his ass a little bit. So he's taking the night off, but that's okay. We will trudge on without David, and he'll be back. I don't know if he has work tomorrow or not, but he'll be back. Obviously, he'll be back. So we're going to have some fun today, as we always do. Let me get through my preamble to start the show. Epstein client list, as always, we need to see it. We need to demand that it is seen. I know I sound like a broken record. I know people maybe that watch this frequently are going to be like, when the fuck is he going to stop talking about it? And it will be the exact time that it gets released, because I am just not cool with a bunch of people walking around that sexually abused little girls. So there's that. Number two, continue to send help for Helene and Milton victims, especially right now in the time of Thanksgiving. We have the holiday coming up. Something as small as maybe send toys. Like, honestly, like for Christmas, these kids aren't going to have any toys. They're not going to have anything to open up. They're not going to have a home to open up Christmas, Christmas Day and stuff in. So if you could send small toys as well, so that these parents can maybe have something to wrap to give to their kids, that's also, I think, a good idea. But any sort of life-saving stuff at this point, jackets, gloves, hats, warm, like ski pants, send all those things. Under Armour, that always helps, like the Under Armour, like warm gear stuff, legs and arms. If you could send that type of stuff, please do. Like I always say, instead of going out that night, go and buy one of those things and send them out there. It's the right thing to do. And Nate here, Nightman has to pay the troll toll to get into the... Yeah, we're going to leave it there. Thank you, Nate. Always hanging out with us. I always appreciate it. And speaking of that, before I finish my preamble, wherever you're hanging out at, whether it's X, Facebook, Kick, YouTube, we appreciate it all. If you're on X, give us a follow and a repost over there. If you are on Facebook, share and follow. If you're watching on Kick, go follow us over there. And if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the show. And as always, for all of them, share the show with your friends. And if you're listening on podcast form, happy to have you all here listening on the audio. We appreciate that as well. Go give us a good review over there. So, finishing up the preamble here, keep supporting Moms for Liberty just because, and this is going to couple with my Trump victory one, just because we won victories this last election with Donald Trump and conservatives and moving the ball that way doesn't mean the fight's over. It's never over. There will always be things to fight against. Moms for Liberty is leading that charge in mostly your local sector. If you have a Moms for Liberty chapter around you, go get to know them because they're the people that are willing to stand up and fight for your kids in schools, fight for your communities locally over in local elections, state elections, and things like that. So go and 100% support them. And also, like I said, it couples with we cannot stop working hard because the election's over. There are elections every single year. Go get involved. And lastly, transparency with the whole entire FEMA shit, passing up Trump supporters. We need that. So, Nate G over here. Sorry about Rutgers. What a crazy ass game. I mean, those types of things happen, Nate. They played hard. They took the lead and they fought. They gave a good amount of time and Rutgers fought. And it's kind of just a freak thing. Fourth down, giving up a bomb to lose the game. The Fighting Illini are a good team. There's a reason they're ranked in the top 25, and they came in hostile territory. The stadium was bopping. All the Rutgers fans, Scarlet Knight fans showed out, and Rutgers played hard. They showed me something. They showed me something today. Went down, retook the lead, and I mean, you battle. That's what you do in football, and sometimes this type of stuff happens. I was pissed. I wanted kids cut initially, but it is what it is. You go in there and, if you're Coach Giano, you just say, hey, this type of shit happens. Tip your cap. They figured out a way to win. We didn't lock it in and on to the next one. But, heartbreaking game because Rutgers has been playing pretty well. But, yeah, just tough there. So let's get going. Let's start up with the fun stuff today. With our title over there, I want to share this article because I think we have a pretty cool documentary coming up. Boom. So let's get going. It's in the game. Madden NFL docuseries premieres on Prime Video November 26th. So this is from Comic Book News. Prime Video set to premiere. It's in the game. Madden NFL, a 4-part docuseries chronicling the rise of Madden NFL video game franchise. Sunday, November 26th. Highly anticipated, blah, blah, blah. And there's a trailer below. We'll watch. I'll kind of skip through this. His legacy extends beyond the field and the broadcast booth to Thanksgiving traditions. His iconic turkey leg and turducken celebrations, which the turducken is fucking legendary. Ever since Madden did the turducken thing, it's always been a mainstay. I've always wanted to try one. I've never tried one. They seem kind of gross, but I've always wanted to try one. So maybe one day I will get to. So it's a 4-part series that honors the Madden's influence, showcasing his larger-than-life persona that helped create one of the most beloved video game franchises of all time. It's in the game. If you don't have a Prime membership, go find someone who does. But this is something I'll probably watch because this is something that affected me, my childhood, growing up and everything like that. I remember I didn't have the original John Madden football. That was my cousin. He's 8 years older than me. I had my first Madden was Madden 98. And all I remember is Madden 98. When you first got it, you see the bus pulling up and Madden saying like, boom, now that we're here and blah, 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 it's time for football. And then it goes in like a bunch of cutscenes. And that was back when the intros were always like live action cutscenes and they were pretty damn cool. But that's exactly what I remember about the John Madden opening. And it was just such a revolutionary game in a lot of ways. Because, you give a kid that now, they're going to be like, this is trash. But at the time, it was less about the graphics and more about the fact that you can control your favorite players. You saw their names, how good they were, how bad they were, your favorite teams, and then the plays that they had on the screen with the options. I remember the big blue blocky screen popping up with 3 options, and you could choose one. And eventually you were able to slide, but usually it gave you kind of choices for what the down and distance were and things like that. And it was just cool because you're looking at it and you felt like you were a part of the game. You were looking at a play. You were going through a formation and then the play, and it was just a really cool situation. So Nate's saying it depends if you like duck. My dad used to make them. I don't think I've ever had duck either. Maybe that's fucked up right there. And we have Santos coming in saying hi. What up? What up, dude? How's it going? Thanks for watching. Um, So let's keep rolling with this article here. Um, Madden is the cornerstone of sports gaming. Journey to success was anything but certain, which is something they cover. It delves into the story of the origins from ambitious partnerships between a football icon, tech savvy computer whiz, and the evolution into multi generational phenomenon. Now, this is something that I want to just couch with. I don't play the current Madden. I've said for a long time you should just buy Madden once every 4 years because you're basically paying for roster updates. You're not getting much in terms of an improvement in gameplay, graphics, anything like that. But there's no doubt that it still sells like hotcakes, even with some of the broken stuff. Madden is still one of the most successful franchises of all time, if not of all time. So, featuring never before seen footage from EA Sports archives that's in the game, also provides a behind the scenes look at the creation of the next generation of the game. And I just remember being like the Tiburon team as a kid, and I had no idea who the fuck the Tiburon team was. And now that I find out I'm older and it's like there was all like the devs putting themselves in and they made them all pro, it was pretty cool. Um, when are you going to have your super fan on as a guest? I don't know. Maybe one day we'll have Nate on. I think that'd be cool. But here's the thing with Nate coming on, who would be pushing the chat and making the conversation go forward? Unless you, Santos, agree to, be in here all the time with Nate and hang out with him and talk with him. You could do that. And if you wanted to do that, probably be easier, Matt, if you went on the YouTube side. So you and Nate can interact. And Nate G, NFL 2K was superior to Madden. Did you ever play? Yes. Yes, I played NFL 2K. So it was funny. So I had Madden. I would always buy the Maddens, and one of my friends always bought the 2Ks. And it wasn't necessarily because either of us liked one of them more than the other. We just always like to have one. So we would decide which one we ought to play. 2K6 is one of the best fucking football games of all time. They had the mechanics down better. The way you dropped, the way you sat in a pocket, tackling the different ways you tackled from different angles. Like 2K was incredibly ahead of its time. But I mean, Madden got the name, and that's all it was that really pushed them. They got the name. Their dynasty mode was an original thing that they started the franchise. No, it wasn't even dynasty then, franchise. And again, as a young kid, I did not get franchise mode. I didn't understand how to buy and trade. I didn't understand how to do any of that, how to balance a salary and everything. So it became an interesting thing to delve into when you're a young kid. 98, I was that. So there was 98 means it released in 97 because it was always a year ahead. So I was 9. I was a 9-year-old trying to figure out franchise mode. So it's pretty crazy. Santos says, myself, if you're in here hanging out, pushing the conversation, we could definitely do something like that. Nate G says the first person mode was out of this world. Yes, that was incredible. It was revolutionary. And just like the bizarre accuracy of it, which is something I feel like a lot of games I couldn't capture now in a lot of ways. Santos asking, where's David? David, I said, in the beginning, Santos, he's fucking beat. The new schedule is kicking his ass. He needed a little more rest doing the overnight stuff, but he'll be back. I don't know if he's working tomorrow or not, but he'll be back. He's popping in and out whenever he can. Nate coming back in. When it comes to covering the Madden game evolution, YouTube does it better. Great documentary on the downfall of the game and how and why it's so bad. I mean, Nate, I don't think the purpose of this documentary is to document the downfall. I think it's kind of a little puff piece that EA wanted to put out. But yeah, YouTubers do really good shit with documentaries, right? There's a lot of fantastic documentarians on YouTube that do a lot of great things. But I'm definitely interested in seeing this side because this is going to give you, and we'll watch the trailer a little bit. this is going to give you kind of the inner workings in the background at EA, which I don't know how many YouTube documentarians have unless they work there and have access to like footage. But this is a cool look at getting Madden involved and things like that, and success versus failure rate, because when it came out, it was one of its kind. They had Tecmo Bowl, but Tecmo Bowl was not what Madden was in any way, shape, or form. Santos coming in, he needs to buck up and get over it. I mean, I could be a dick and tell him he's a pussy and jump on, but I decided to be nice and let him take the break, because he would have just been here. He would have been exhausted and he would have done it. If I would have told him like, hey, do it, I really want you here, he would have done it, but he would have been exhausted and I would have felt like a dick. So I didn't want to be mean. All right, let's keep going here. But with series captured how the franchise revolutionized not just gaming, but also pop culture, bringing the worlds of sports and technology in an unprecedented way. And it did, because you would hear boom and things like that, and you would automatically think John Madden, right? And some of the things, and the fun part was about this game is that they had legitimate commentary from Pat Summerall and John Madden. Again, revolutionary at its time. And the fact that you could play the game and hear those guys calling it, and then watch football on the weekend and hear the exact same people in the game that you were hearing call the real games, was, again, something you didn't have, and was a really cool situation. Just also how they reacted to things. You had Pat Summerall giving the play-by-play. You would have John giving his trademark things and stuff like that. It was different. It was just a very different thing. So Nate G, modern game should have a mode where Pat Summerall, Madden call your games. I mean, with AI and all the things that Pat Summerall and John Madden have said, they could absolutely stitch together a whole bunch of modern things that they would do. They could probably even recreate them and put them on screen. Be fucking weird, but it would also be cool. Definitely a big selling point, Nate. If they did that, it would be a huge selling point for a lot of your original fans that maybe dropped off a little bit. Don't care here about the production team, executive producers, don't really care. And watch it on Prime Video. The game premieres November 26th, blah, blah, blah. This is the official trailer, and I don't think there's anything more beyond it. So I don't know if we're going to get flagged for it, but you know what, though? Who gives a fuck? Let's watch it.
And the fun of the first time you played
No, go back. Bad. Okay.
Sports.
It's one of the best sellers in video game history.
Welcome to John Madden Football.
It's in the game.
It's in the game.
It's in the game.
I guarantee you, baby, it's in the game.
And that was one thing that was big, is that was, all the commercials would have that, and then players would say it all the time. And I don't remember which Madden it was, but like the whole beginning was just a bunch of different football players rattling off. It's in the game. It's in the game. And that, again, that was such a cool thing to see as a kid, seeing all your favorite people, and everything. Someone like the reporters were doing it too. So it became such a cultural thing to just, it's in the game. Let's keep going.
This was a piece of culture. It wasn't just a video game.
I'm one of these guys who got into football through Madden.
My first dream was try to make it to the league. So I'm kind of living my athletic dreams through this game.
They want to know what it's like to be Troy Aikman. I'm going to play Troy Aikman.
Some of the best players to ever play have graced the cover of Madden.
But we were starting in complete chaos.
We weren't seeing progress.
Most of us at EA wondered if the game would ever get finished.
We just didn't think that would amount to anything. Bam! Doink!
And that's a wild statement. We didn't think that it would amount to anything, and then to see where it comes. Like, you get all these stories all the time, right? Where there was doubting and things like that. But to see where it was to where it is now, it's crazy. Nate G saying, I quit playing Madden at Madden 15. They got rid of custom sub packages, which was a killer. They took away a lot of good things over the years, and the things they added didn't really get to it, get to where they would want it to be. And Ultimate Team kind of fucked everything up, right? Because I think Ultimate Team, like, you got a lot of people that play it all the time, but then they really just started focusing on Ultimate Team. And they forgot about, Ultimate Team and kind of the Road to Glory. Those are the two things. You can create your own person and go play, which initially was fun. They've kind of watered it down in a lot of ways. Like, they make it hard and they come back. Like, it's a lot of different things. And then Ultimate Team, where for me, I was a guy who loved franchise and loved Dynasty and things like that. That was I like play calling. Like, right now, I'm addicted to one of those fucking college football sims on my phone where you just like play the seasons, you recruit. You can make key play calls, but that was my big thing. So they took away so many things that maybe they added, but back to the game, but it's a little bit too little too late. Santos over here saying the game is awful. He says again, worst sports game. I mean, it became terrible, Matt. Initially, it was fun. I want to say it was good. I'm trying to think of when it really started to drop off. I think it was the PlayStation 3 era. PlayStation 3 era, like it started to drop off because it started to worry more about graphics and other things. Nate G also went away from realistic sim format to arcade format, very much so. I can imagine it was a lot of money. And Nate, I think that also happened once 2K bowed out. They didn't have to continue to revolutionize the tackling and everything like that. And so they could just go to a lot of just cookie cutter X happens, Y happens, X happens, Y happens. Um, Nate G coming over here saying, same, I was a dynasty guy. When you couldn't put draft classes from NCAA football into Madden, I was addicted. That was fucking cool. And the thing was, what I always would, and this might just be me and the way I saw it, but when it came to NCAA and Madden, NCAA was always the year before is Madden in terms of graphics, in terms of some of the gameplay. It was fun because like the triple option worked really fucking well. And you had a good team, a few good players that could make it fun. And you can really bring like, I'm a Rutgers guy. Rutgers always fucking sucked. I can make Rutgers good and bring them up. So, and then to take that draft class and bring it into Madden, and then you make Madden a whole entire stream. Like the players that you brought up maybe from your team are now you could draft them. Like there was a lot of cool stuff there. So that, yeah, that was really fun. Santos wants me to rank FIFA, Madden, NHL, NBA in the show. Overall fun. So there's some factors here. Is it just the gameplay itself? Is it playing against your friends? Is it, just enjoyability in terms of modes? These are three big factors here in terms of how to rank them. I've always had a great time. I will say like my top three in terms of just playing for fun have always been, not always, but have grown to be as I got older. NHL, FIFA, and the show, any given order. They were a good time. The show is baseball's easier to do with kind of the my player because you're one person anyway. Where and it's a very individual sport in a lot of ways. You can focus on that. Where football, it's so reliant on everybody else. It's fun to maintain and control a player, but it's a little bit tougher. And the show is fun. NHL is just a great time. It's fast moving. There's always hiccups and things like that, but NHL is a good time. FIFA is FIFA. FIFA is always fun. There's always like 7 million new players coming in. Same thing with baseball when you add farms, NHL with the foreign players. So that makes it fun too that you can have so many different players in so many different areas. NBA and Madden should win this, right? Because they're the two biggest sports in the United States. But because of that, they know they have a basis of people that are going to buy it. I was an NBA Live guy initially. I was not a 2K guy with the NBA. I liked NBA Live more, and that was an EA sport game. And I know there's a battle to go there too. So again, NBA Live is about out, and now it's just 2K. So 2K doesn't have to give a fuck. They care more about their ranking system. They care more about little things that the creative player, like whatever it's called now. But I mean, you got to put NBA Madden tied for last. I think they tie for fourth, last, fifth. And if I'm going to rank the top three in terms of fun, probably go, I don't know. FIFA's fucking frustrating. So I might put FIFA in third, even though I fucking love it. I played the shit out of FIFA. I probably go the show and then NHL. Probably where I would rank like NHL, the show, FIFA, and then NBA and Madden hanging out in the cellar. But it could go either way, right? It depends on any given day and how I'm feeling. So that's it's interesting. Nate G saying NHL number one, son. And then he's saying 100 Alex, NBA Live was the champion. NBA Live showed me Rozelle for the first time with All I Know. And I forget which NBA Live it was, but they had such a great track on NBA Live with Rozelle. And then they had Hip Hop Hooray was on there. They had they had, I forget all the songs they had on one of the NBA lives, but that soundtrack was so fucking good that like they don't like shake what your mama gave you, pass me the rock and make it hot. Like, and I think that was like an NHL an NBA live theme song. So they had a lot of really good stuff. That was a fun thing, and I forget which one it was. It might have been NBA Live '99, possibly. Um, Nate, you jumping in. FIFA is fun, but if you like Dynasty, it's trash. 15-year manager career is peak stupid. And again, they take things away, they add things. I think that some of that comes with bandwidth. Most realistic. Um, Most realistic. I'm not gonna say the show because I feel like they make things over hard sometimes for your players. NHL. I haven't played NHL in a long time, so I'm talking like college because I really don't game as much. Most recent I probably played was NBA. 2K. 2K is not realistic in any way, shape, or form, to be quite honest. They have like some 3-point shooters, unless you get it perfect, like they're 3-point savants, they don't make it. Like it's nonsense. Um Madden again, they make the great players great, the seller teams terrible, and it's hard to really dig out. So I have to say FIFA probably the in a lot of ways because it's frustrating. Game of soccer is frustrating. Um, just because, look, I'm a City fan. Look at fucking City lately. Got destroyed by Tottenham today, and it's awful. But I'll say, arguably FIFA, but they're all kind of shitty sims in a lot of ways. I'll say that we have not peak sports sims was in the mid 2000s. That was your peak sports sims where they actually were giving a shit about trying to make the games close to your experience that you would watch and play. Most of your new games are, like Nate said, arcade mode, where they try to give you like the basis of what the game is, and then they focus on other things like graphics or some sort of mode. So, but let's get through the rest of this thing. Thank you, Santos and Nate, for always the comments. Let's get through this trailer here.
We needed some firepower.
John Madden was the man.
Coach Madden was ready to completely change the game.
But I remember John saying, don't do anything to screw up my name.
John walked in, looked at the demo, and said, "What is that?"
We were very close to the deadline.
Do we have what it takes to make a hit?
For John, it had to be authentic.
If I'm going to be part of it, it has to be pro, it has to be realistic.
This changed all of gaming.
There was competition coming from every angle.
It's impossible to stay on top.
Man's in real trouble.
We needed some gambles. Offensive plays, defensive plays, everything authentic in the game. The clock is ticking, and we didn't have an agreement with the NFL.
Somebody 9 points better than me.
Every year, it's the same thing.
Yeah, who gave me this rate? And probably some computer scientist geek.
I have the credibility to critique those and let them know why they are where they are.
I'll do a quick stop like this. One thing that they did that no one else did at the time was they made pro players fucking crazy about their ratings. And you see it now with 2K. Ronnie 2K always comes out and defends it this year. But Madden's the one that started it. And still to this day, players will look at the ratings as a disrespectful thing. So there's that. Let's keep going.
Signing a contract, being drafted, these are all big things. But another big thing is getting in the game.
When I was a kid, everybody loved it. Didn't matter if you were a sports gamer or not. That's the goal.
I remember talking to the kids who weren't really into sports. We would like connect on things that normally we wouldn't connect on.
The joy and the fun of the first time you played Madden with your friend. We have to pay homage to that. That's a magic thing.
Went my whole life for this.
Players look at Madden as a reflection of who they are.
Touchdown for Tyree.
You can learn everything from playing a video game.
We're on top every year.
It's going to get bigger and bigger.
It's in the game.
So that's the trailer. I'll absolutely watch that. I don't watch much. I don't look forward to much in terms of like TV and stuff like that because I don't give a shit about most. But that looks fun. Mostly because I lived most of that start of it, and just seeing the start, like what it's been the past 5 to 10 years has sucked, right? It has not been great, but the beginning was really cool. The start of it, the rise of it, the cultural impact that it had. And again, having John Madden on the cover made it all, because you got to see him on Sundays and Thanksgiving, and him and Pat Summerall called the biggest game. So that definitely made it. I'll look into it. I'll watch it. I'll probably give some like quick reviews about each episode here to talk about what's going on. So let's jump in to our next topic here, which is important for the gamers. The gamers. Are you a gamer, bro? I'm not, but this is certainly important for the gamer. So let's jump in here. This article by Men's Journal. Valve changes how DLC and season passes work on stream. You can now get refunds or cancel DLC in a season pass. So this is from a few days ago, and I think this is something that's really cool. Let's give it a quick read. Valve is changing how season passes work for games listed on Steam, with all changes pointing to better transparency for customers. It's under new guidelines. Developers will have to list the exact details of DLCs, including in a game's season pass, including their release window, amount, and nature of content, and more, which I think is fucking fantastic. Because one of the reasons I got out of gaming, time always is an issue, right? I do this. I've been podcasting now for damn near 8 years and things like that. So this has become my biggest hobby. But on top of that, DLC to complete games is fucking terrible. I've always hated that. The loot boxes were the worst in that push. The few of those things, selling broken games was fucking terrible. Few of those things are what pushed me out personally. So I think it's really cool that they are forcing these developers to say, hey, you want to buy a season pass, this is the DLC that comes with it. And there's reasoning why. Valve also wants developers to commit to delivering content promised on season passes and refund customers if a season pass is delayed, which is fucking awesome. A season pass must also contain at least one expansion/DLC at the time of its listing on the storefront. Should a particular DLC be delayed from its promised release window in a season pass, Valve also wants customers to be refunded an amount approximate to the value of that individual DLC. Now, this comes big with the fact that they are saying that in the season pass purchase of the game, you have to put the amount of the DLC so that there is no shimmying, right? If a DLC is delayed and I paid this much in the season pass to get that DLC, well, that comes back to me if it's delayed. Again, this is going to force developers to be on their P's and Q's, which isn't a bad thing. They say one exception to the new rules pertains to season passes included in a premium/deluxe edition of games. Games that include a season pass in their premium editions don't need to launch with DLC content at launch. And here's a quote. By offering a season pass, you are promising future content, reads an excerpt from Valve's new guidelines. In the process of launching a season pass, you'll be asked to commit to a launch timing for each content released in the season pass. That launch timing is a commitment to both customers and Steam. And I also think what this is going to do, because again, I fucking hated that they sold us broken games. That always bothered me to a large amount. So for me, seeing this would make me so happy, because this is going to force the developers to sit there and not just say, hey, there's a DLC coming. No, we are actively working on a DLC. This is the time frame that it's going to be done. Not that we want to do it, not that we're going to do it, no, this is the time frame. So we're asking for this extra money from you for a season pass because this will help us fund the rest of the development. Fine. If I like your game, I like your product, I'm going to have no problem supporting you if I want, as well as if I want that DLC, right? So this, I think, is a really good thing. Let's keep going. If you aren't ready to clearly communicate about the content included in each DLC and when each DLC will be ready for launch, you shouldn't offer a season pass on Steam. So obviously, and we know that has been a problem in gaming in general. The fact that, hey, it's going to be done here. Oh man, it's not. Oh, I promise it's done here. Give us more money. Sorry. And then we see these startups, we see these games that just never deliver. And here you are paying for that product. And sorry, maybe the development team, the company shut down, and here you're fucked. They're like, no, now this is promised to the person affording, paying for this. The new guidelines will help ensure that customers are aware of a developer or publisher's intent to deliver DLC in the promised manner. Season passes have become a common way of delivering new in-game content post-launch in not just multiplayer titles, but also single player games. This includes many heavy hitters, like heavy hitters. Hold on. Heavy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Star Wars Outlaws. It called Star Wars Outlaws a heavy hitter. God, I should have finished the article. I read most of it. Oh, man. Oh, I didn't know this was a comedy piece. Thank you, Raul Majudinar, for including Star Wars Outlaws as a heavy hitter, a failed fucking game. Anyway, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, which was big, and the upcoming hero shooter Marvel Rivals, which I don't know if it's going to be any good. I know nothing about Marvel Rivals, but that's with that. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a rather good thing that we are going to force these developers to do what they say they're going to do. And I get it. Listen, making a game is fucking hard. Making anything creative in that sense, games, cartoons, anime, manga, writing, movies, TV, that's not easy. But you're getting paid handsomely for something that you're supposed to be skilled at. Your team is supposed to have a skill to create this. I'm tired of people saying in defense, like, I don't care if it's a bad game. Games aren't easy to make. No shit. They're supposed to be difficult. This is supposed to be a skill and a trade that you and your team have that me, the person buying it, does not. I want to enjoy your labors. I want to pay you for your labor. And I just want you to hold up your end of the bargain and deliver it on time. Thank you, Steam, for continuing to, make the players feel like you're at least fighting for them. Thank you, Valve, for continuing to do this shit. And we hope that you guys never sell. Because that would be terrible. Even me, as like not a gamer anymore, just appreciates what they do. And this is another step that shows that Valve is pretty fucking dedicated to the gamer and not to the companies. They're not kowtowing to, indie devs that are massive or AAA companies. So that's a good thing. And again, companies like this, like Valve, that are doing it, deserve all the money that they're getting. So good for them. All right. So I want to talk about something I did tonight, which was have a movie night with my children, which is always fun to bond and have a good time. And the movie that we watched was this movie right here, which has had some mixed reviews. Spellbound, this is a post from earlier yesterday. Spellbound premieres in 2 days ago, 12 hours. The movie Spellbound, right from Netflix, is released yesterday. It is from Skydance Animation Studios. Skydance Animation Studios is run by former Disney exec John Lasseter, who was pushed out. And since he was pushed out, that place has been fucking terrible. So I'll say this. I've seen a ton of mixed reviews. Now, for those that don't know, Spellbound is an animated movie. It is a sing-along animated movie, a musical, where you are following a young girl whose parents are changed into those little monsters you see on the bottom there, right above the word Spellbound. Changed into that, and she then goes on a quest with them to try and get them to turn back into her parents, turn back into the king and queen. And it honestly, is it a great movie? No. Is it one of like the best animated movies? No. Like, it doesn't compete with like your Puss in Boots and Bad Guys and things like that. And even, Despicable Me 4 was pretty good. It does not compete there. Even Inside Out 2, like, it doesn't. Don't get me wrong. Is it a good movie? Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. It kept my 6 and 4-year-old really, entranced, and they love it. They, at the end of it, they're like, we love this. I'll say this. The ending tackles content that I didn't think they were going to go in that direction. And they tackled it gracefully and skillfully in a way that my kids, they didn't really understand it too much. But it was a well done twist. I thought there were some really funny moments. I thought, this has Rachel Ziegler in it, who I have to say again, she's a fucking moron. But she can sing. She was a highlight of this movie. Her performance, she's the lead protagonist, the female Elian. I think her name is Elian. But she does a really good job. Her voice acting, her singing, really good. She was good through it. You have Javier Bardem as the father monster there. You have Nicole Kidman as the woman monster. And I thought they also had their moments, good comedy moments. John Lithgow's a little purple bugger that she carries around. John Lithgow's fantastic. Again, the voice acting was strong. The story could have been paced better. The story could have had, the songs I think some of them hit, some of them felt a little misplaced at times. Um, but overall, the story was decent. If you have kids and you're looking and you're like, man, fuck Disney, like they put out shit content. I don't know if I can trust them. DreamWorks has been good, but they haven't put out anything right now. If I want something that I think is safe for my kids, good movie. Again, the ending has it's not bad. It's just a different way to tackle things, and it is it gets pretty sad at points. It does touch on the emotional things, and I didn't expect it to go the way it went. I have a 6 and a 4-year-old. I have no problem with them watching it again. I'll say that. And I am pretty much, there's certain things I don't want them to watch, and there's certain things I let them watch, like every parent. I would let them watch this on their own if they want to just watch Spellbound again. So, again, is it a 10 out of 10? No. I would give it a solid 7. A solid 7. I see some reviews on there saying it was awful, this and that, and it was worse than Wish. It's not worse than Wish. Wish was a fucking dumpster fire. This was decent. Nathan Lane's in it too. There's good actors and actresses throughout. Like I said, you can hate Rachel Zegler all you want. She deserves a lot of the hate. She does a really good job in this movie. She could sing. She was on point with her voice acting. So kudos to her. And overall, again, I would recommend it. I just wanted to throw that out there. So I watched Spellbound. I've talked about Skydance before, and I will support and try to watch anything they do because I think, John Lasseter was pushed out. Disney has taken a fucking nosedive. So, and I said, like, this felt like an old school-ish Disney stylish movie. Okay. It had that same kind of epic journey with some comedy in there. Like it wasn't bad. So again, if you're looking for something to throw on for your kids that you haven't seen, toss it on. My family enjoyed it. So I'm there with that. So going from that to this over here, Disney's Snow White trailer has leaked and it doesn't look good. Story from Outkick here. Ian Miller. Walt Disney Studios just can't catch a break. Get out of here. And as always, it's their own fault. After years of film flops and failures, and a stock price has declined nearly 42% in the past 3.5 years, Disney desperately needed its incredibly expensive Snow White remake to be a financial success. First, set photos leaked showing a disastrous decision to change the famous Seven Dwarfs to what looked like characters from Portlandia. Bad press, reshoots, and CGI redesign led to Disney delaying the release of the film by a full year. And then just a few months before its new date, lead actress Rachel Zegler decided to go off on Instagram about Donald Trump. We covered that. Exactly what Disney wanted to see, blah, blah. Now the trailer is out ahead of the new Wicked movie, and it has leaked online to more criticism. So what we're going to do here is we are going to watch this. I'm going to mute it so that we do not get fucked over. I'll throw some commentary on it over that, but I just don't want to play with music because I feel like Disney catches wind of this and they will flip out.
A case of fairness.
Let's mute it. So we're watching here. That was Gal Gadot, and that's her. That's them trying to make Gal Gadot look ugly as the wicked whatchamacallit, the queen. And basically a lot of the commentary here, I watched it, very different than what you're going to get from the movie. If you're a fan of the movie, they talk, this part's kind of pulled out that she's, beautiful, but Snow White's the fairest. But you have a whole lot of girl boss moments as you go throughout. They say here, like, this is like, when I see you, I just want to be more fair. Like, it was a bad line. They put her in the classic costume there. The huntsman was that black guy saying, just, you got to run. She's evil. Like, it was the acting. Some of it looked like shit. If I've seen anything with Rachel Zegler, though, I feel like she's going to do a decent job in terms of what she was working with. She's not a terrible actress. I think she's a moron again. But here's all the CGI. It doesn't look fucking good. Again, we're watching on this screen. But just wait until these motherfuckers come in. I'm going to pause on how bad these dwarves look. Because look at this shit. They're trying to pull this as live action. This is the CGI dwarves that they put in. You can't tell me that they could not find fucking dwarves to play in this movie that are actors that look for work in those positions with movies that need dwarves. You're telling me that they couldn't find them. What the actual fuck? Let's keep watching this because it gets worse. They just look worse and worse. Like, look at this shit. This looks like someone made a bad attempt to make a 3D film. Like this, it's miserable. And this is her forcing them to work to clean up their home, which is a change because she cleans up the home for the dwarves. And now this is her deciding to go and rebel against the queen and lead a fucking rebellion. Snow White does not lead a rebellion. Snow White is a prim and proper and more of a timid woman in that sense. This is not her role to lead a rebellion. This is an original song that they throw in there, which I hate all the fucking original songs they put into live action. Here, this is her leading with swords things being pointed out. Like, come on. And, they try to do like this thing with the apple and this ending scene. Like, it is going to be a train wreck, okay? This is going to be bad. I know I said that I didn't think Wicked was going to be any good, and it ended up being really fucking good. I need to see it. I might wait for it to stream at this point. We'll see if I can find a day to go take my wife out and go see it because that's a premium with the 6 and a 4-year-old. But I was wrong about Wicked, happily, because I'm happy. I like the play of Wicked. So the fact that they did it justice in a movie, great. Cool with that. This I know I'm not going to be wrong about. This is going to be a train wreck. Number one, people are fucking tired. Well, switching hands better. People are tired of the live actions. I think that is just wearing on people. They have not generally been very good. Beauty and the Beast wasn't great. Aladdin, I don't think was that great. All the live action they've tried to pull off like the Lion King and shit, and Jungle Book is live action. It's all fucking CGI. This is all CGI shit too. And one thing we have learned, when Disney does CGI lately, they do it as bad as they fucking can. You would think this company has unlimited resources, would put the time and effort into making good CGI. How could I forget Ariel? Ariel was meh. Meh at best. The CGI was off-putting. The scuttle wrap was fucking terrible. Like, there are things that just are not great. And you're seeing this, and this is a complete and total inversion of the story. So, I mean, this is going to flop. It is not going to do good. Nate coming in. You cannot make Gal Gadot ugly. No, you can't. She's stunning. Gal Gadot is one of the best looking women on the planet. I don't care what anybody fucking says. She's gorgeous. And she looked great in Wonder Woman. The second movie was fucking terrible, but doesn't deny the fact that she filled out, the costume and did justice to what Linda Carter started. Obviously, Linda Carter is a little more curvy, but Gal Gadot was fucking gorgeous as Wonder Woman and just an overall beautiful woman. But yeah, so this is not going to be good, okay? This is going to be just a laugher. It's going to be bombed. It's going to be, like review bombed, and deservedly so, because nobody wants to see Snow White be a fucking girl boss. And, hopefully this is another last ditch effort. And, this will show that the girl boss shit is bad. And, I hope Rachel Zegler learns something from all this shit. She's not going to. She's insulated. But it's like, I hope this film fucking flops. And I hope, because I don't think she's a bad actress. I don't think she's a terrible singer with this type of shit. And I just wish she would, number one, take better projects. And number two, not be a fucking asshole. Because I think she could be one of those actresses that kind of takes off and becomes a good actress. But, overall that we see that. But I don't know. So Nate, first Wonder Woman was peak superhero. Nate, to the point where me and my wife saw the original Wonder Woman, the first one, in theaters, and I walked out there saying she is DC's lead right now. They need to focus the rest of the universe around Wonder Woman. I was firm. I said not Superman, not Batman, not Green Lantern, not any of the other ones, not Flash. They needed to focus that, the whole universe around Wonder Woman, because the story was good, the acting was good, the sets were fucking beautiful, and that fight scene at the end, the main villain fight scene, was as good of a fight scene as I've seen in hero movies. It had good choreography, it had good power scaling showing. It showed just how fucking badass Wonder Woman really was. And then they screw it all up in the second movie, and she's not great in Batman vs Superman. Like it's in Justice League, like it's not. From that, like she was at a high point, and then from there, it's like a decline down. So it's sad to see how they snatched, the defeat from the jaws of victory there, because I saw them like, hey, if they focus around Wonder Woman and they start to build around her, they can start to compete with Marvel. And instead, they just went back to let's focus on Supes, let's focus on Batman, and they just didn't have it with that. They just don't. It doesn't seem like DC has a plan. We'll see with fuck's his name over there, the one that did Guardians. We'll see if he has a better plan for them, a better outline, but who knows? But we're moving on to something else. We're going to move on to some stupid false moral outrage that people have over someone just trying to be a friend here. I always say this guy's name wrong, so I apologize right away. But here we have an article on Fox News by Caroline Thayer. Dave Coulier, I think it's his name, defends John Stamos after actor is ridiculed for an insulting tribute. Coulier was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in October, which is always shitty to hear. So let's go ahead and read what's up. John Stamos has taken some heat for how he chose to stand in solidarity with good pal and former castmate Dave Coulier, who announced he was diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma last week. 61-year-old actor posted a photo. Jesus Christ, Uncle Joey 61. Can't think of that. Anyway, posted a photo on social media wearing a bald cap alongside a bald Coulier. Well, that's John Stamos is 61. See, I don't even know who you're talking about. John Stamos, he looks like he's like 16. Who preemptively shaved his head before his treatment started. In one image, Stamos can be seen using a buzz cutter to precision on Coulier's head. And the quote here, nothing like throwing on a bald cap and flexing some Photoshop skills to show some love and solidarity with my bro. You're handling this with so much strength and positivity. It's inspiring, he captioned in his Instagram post. So this was the pictures here, okay? And again, for me, this is nothing, right? This is a nothing burger. This is John Stamos being cool with one of his good friends. Dave Coulier is going to, going through some stuff with the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He's going to get treatment. And this is John Stamos coming over and being like, hey, you shaved your fucking head. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to, be bald with you. Obviously, John Stamos didn't shave his head because John Stamos has one of the best sets of hair of all fucking time. And it's a comment here later. He's under contract. You can't just change your look, but I digress. So Nate G quick with a comment. Yeah, for sure. You weren't wrong. I'm in the minority that loved Henry Cavill Supes and Ben Affleck's Batman. I thought the Snyder cut was phenomenal. So I agree with you. I loved the look of Henry Cavill as Superman. And I thought the fighting in Man of Steel was as good as you're going to see in terms of like speed fighting and fighting in the air. I've always said all we need from a live action Dragon Ball is that type of fighting. And it would be beautiful with the way they handled like the power and the speed there. The story of Man of Steel was okay. It's hard to make a Supes. It was okay at best, but they had great moments where Henry Cavill voluntarily puts himself, turns himself in, and then just when things go wrong, he just stands up and like breaks the thing and is like, I can break the fuck out of here whenever I want. Let me go. Like there were cool moments, and Cavill was a good Superman just because he looked the part. He wanted to be Supes. He acted like Supes. The stories just were not there. Ben Affleck's Batman, I thought was fantastic. He's one of the best Batman of all time, if not the best Batman outside of late great animated series voice actor. He was a fantastic Batman. God, why can't I think of his name? You'll correct me, Nate. You'll know who it is. But yeah, and so I didn't watch the Snyder cut of anything because I don't want to give DC any more money. If you cannot make a good film the first time, I shouldn't need to watch a director's cut to make your fucking first film good, okay? I never mind when you have like a classic movie and then they release a director's cut just so you can fucking get the feel of what the director wanted to do as well. This is also great. Cool. DC has this bad habit of releasing a fucking shit theatrical product and then trying to get it saved by the director's cut. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. I'm not supporting it. Not watching the Snyder cut. I haven't watched any of them. I refuse. If you're going to give me a shit product at first, I don't care what your director wanted to do. I'm not going to give you any more fucking money because you gave me a bad product up front. And Nate G, Uncle Joey has cancer, major bummer. Yes, that does suck that Uncle Joey has cancer. Let's keep going here. Another quote. I know you're going to get through this. I'm proud to stand with you every step of the way. I love you. P.S. Wife Melissa Coulier is the most wonderful. Your life is a true your true lifeline. So it says people quickly reacted to in the comments section, with many finding Stamos' gesture to be distasteful. Coulier, however, defended Stamos while simultaneously sharing his disappointment with the negatively generated. He says, I'm sorry to see a bunch of negative comments as I've just begun my cancer journey. It's our friendship, and this is how we are handling a very tough time. I'm a comedian, and humor is what drives me. John knows how to cheer me up, and I laughed out loud when he arrived wearing a bald cap, being a true loving friend and brother. I've heard from so many people who have been inspired through my words and actions to say that they are going to check in with their doctors and get mammograms, a colonoscopy, a prostate exam. Coulier, 65, continued, I'm still going to laugh in the face of adversity. And that's exactly the way this should be handled. This should be handled with enough, with that type of grace that Dave Coulier is handling it with. I thought he's doing a good job, and the negativity is stupid. We'll read some of the negative comments, but like he said, that's their friendship. Maybe someone else will be offended by that, right? But they're friends. Like he said, he's a comedian. And Stamos came in there with the ball cap to laugh with them because he knows what his friend that was on set with him forever. And it's Kevin Conroy is the one I was thinking of, Nate. I think it was Kevin Conroy was the voice of Batman in the animated series. Anyway, but people are looking at this in a weird way. If Dave Coulier is cool, they're cool enough to post on fucking pictures on social media. Why do you have a problem with it? Everyone just wants to have a problem with shit. Nate G says it was complicated. Snyder's daughter killed herself and he left. He came back and the Snyder is worth a watch. Okay. I didn't know about that because I didn't pay attention. Maybe I'll go watch it now. Maybe. I didn't even know Snyder's daughter killed herself. That's fucking terrible. Sorry to hear about that, Zack Snyder. And he says, yeah, Bruce Timm is animated Batman. I was thinking of Kevin Conroy is who I was thinking of as Batman. But so let's keep going here. Let's see some of these stupid comments. Oh no. Blah, blah, blah. This is more Dave Coulier saying he's staying positive. When I lost my sister Sharon, my mother Arlen, and my niece Shannon to cancer, which is fucking terrible, we tried to stay positive and we made each other laugh through the worst of it. So I'm choosing to spread the word about early cancer detection to help people. That's just who I am. I wish nothing but love for you all. And so here is some of the comments of people that just want to be fucking angry. People that just want to be bitter. People that have nothing else better to do with their lives than to watch two friends post up something that they thought was funny together. A guy that has stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma thought this was funny enough to post on his social media that his friend tried to cheer him up. And here are some of these fucking Debbie Downers. Sorry, needed to cleanse the old palate there. Boom, boom, boom. Quote, God bless Dave. But is this really appropriate? A bald cap is showing solidarity. You can just take your cap off and be quote unquote normal again. When people take this route, they actually shave their head. I can't help but feel that you're using Dave's diagnosis as a way to make yourself more likable. So, to this user that is disheartened, to me, I feel like it's more of a show to shave your head. Because in the end, your hair grows right the fuck back. That person getting treatment now has to wait for their hair to grow back, and often in a much thinner form that never looks the same again. So your false show of solidarity by shaving your own head. Again, I'm not knocking the people that do it. The people that do it, fucking fine. I'm not mad about them. I am mad about the people that demand this. That, oh, you should have shaved your head. Fuck you. I don't got to do that. The fact that John Stamos, again, showed up in a bald cap to make his friend laugh. This wasn't to make any sort of big statement. Again, he said he's doing it in solidarity with Coulier because he has to cut his hair. He preemptively did it before, chemo took it all out. Fine. But this was meant to be a funny gesture to cheer up a guy who just got probably the worst news of his existence. Outside of the fact that Alanis Morissette made her opening song about him and was pretty funny. All right. So, hate to be that person, but this is more insulting by putting on a bald cap than not shaving your head. A person with cancer doesn't have a cap they can take off, another reiterated. What a shallow gesture. Couldn't even cut your hair off for your friend, and you made sure to post it on Instagram to get those likes too. I mean, again, these are just sad, bitter people that don't understand what supporting your friend is. They don't, these are the type of people that want support, but rarely give it, don't know how to give it, that don't have the empathy, but want all the sympathy. That's all I read from these people, that they are just the type of bitter people that want things for themselves. And here's this self-righteous person. I'm sorry, as a breast cancer survivor, this is not support. This is a joke. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's not how you support us. So how the fuck would you want to be supported? A pink ribbon? That's how you want support? A pink ribbon? Or quote unquote awareness for me to tell people that breast cancer exists? Like, come on. What do you want him to do? Shaving his head's not going to help Dave Coulier. It's not going to help his treatment. I mean, what do you want? Just him to keep his hair on, no ball cap, and just a shallow, and just a post about how he stands with him? Like, what difference does that make? What difference would that, like, what difference does that make? And again, these people are just bitter. So, again, his affinity for the hair is a really odd choice. Shaving your head, especially since your love of hair is so well known, would have been the move. Although I know you have the sweetest of intentions, this almost feels like mockery. Not great. Who? To who, though? That's the question that these people always can never just break out of their own stupid bubble. To who is it a mockery? If it's not a mockery to Dave Coulier, then shut the fuck up. Period. Quickly, Nate G saying, I mean, women are shaving their heads and about not having sex with Trumpers. Is that cancer appropriation? I don't know. Maybe no. I think they're just a bunch of fucking neo-Nazis showing their true colors. Those women, they're true believers anyway. And a cancer survivor rebuffed all that and said, as someone who has had cancer 3 times, I never wanted anyone to shave their head for me. I think this is great and hilarious, and I'm sure Dave really didn't want him to shave his head. And again, someone points out that he has obligations. He's on a show. He can't just make those big extreme changes. And then Full House co-stars Candace Cameron Bure and Andrea Barber, who play DJ Tanner and Kimmy Gibbler, shared words of encouragement saying, this is fantastic. Bure wrote with a bunch of heart emojis. I love you guys so much. So again, they don't care. And there's some of their friends from Full House. So it's, again, we all have our little 15 minutes of fame with all the streams and shit like that and the things that we can post. But I mean, just some people just need to get a life. Like, honestly, just get a life. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I guess they don't know that because it's social media, but I mean, Jesus. All right. So keeping in the entertainment sphere, I am going to share this right here because this is relevant. This is from 4 days ago from U.S. News and World Report. I think the AP is the one that covered it, but U.S. News appropriated it here and they gave them the proper coverage. So boom. Go away. I don't want to get your shit. Alec Baldwin film Rust has world premiere with dedication to cinematographer killed on set. So honestly, I don't care much about the fact that it premiered at a festival in Poland. I care about the fact that they paid tribute to the woman that Alec Baldwin was accused of killing, I have to say. He got let off on a technicality. They talk about that later, but accused of killing. I mean, come on now, everyone. Nate G says, pretty sure Candace Cameron is a base right winger. She is. She's badass. She partners with who is it from Wonder Years? I think it's the guy from Wonder Years on some of the books and stuff like that. She did things with books and stuff with him. And our buddy Colton Gesser says, go to bed. When I'm done, Colt, I'll go to bed. Colt, you're welcome to join me whenever the fuck you want to jump on here. Come talk about some stuff. Why not? Anyway, so it premiered 4 days ago to a packed movie theater. They did a moment of silence and dedication for Helena Hutchins, who was shot by Alec Baldwin. So let's keep going down real quick. I'm going to see if there's anything relevant. Let's see. So Baldwin, the lead actor and co-producer, was pointing a gun at Hutchins during the rehearsal outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico in October 2021 when the revolver went off, killing Hutchins and wounding director Joel Souza. Baldwin has said he pulled back the hammer, but not the trigger, and the revolver fired. Sousa's the one that introduced the film. And here's the thing. A lot of these people finished this film and wanted to get it released because, again, they were getting paid. This was something they were doing. And I think for them and their purposes, they wanted to get this out there just to finish it. And a lot of people say, as a tribute to Helena, how do you say her name? Helena Hutchinson, as a tribute to her. And I understand that. I hate that it's giving Alec Baldwin any more fucking press, but I do understand that. So we introduced it. Hutchins' husband, Matthew, wanted the film to be finished and came on as an executive producer. It was important to him that people who knew and loved Helena get to see her final work. Sousa said, the mission became to preserve every single frame that I could of hers and to honor her final work, which, again, a nice tribute to continue to try and honor her and, do it. Colton saying, you tell me when and where, and I'm there, coach. Bolt, you're welcome to join any stream any night that we're on. Just ask, and I will send you the link, and you can hop on. We can bullshit about entertainment, politics, sports, whatever we have up there. Whatever you don't want to participate in, you're fine, but you're always welcome. And you just want to jump in, ask for the link. You'll get an invite. You could jump. I hope it's Fred Savage that you mentioned. Yes, I believe it's Fred Savage, and he's the one that does. He's doing a show with Angel Studios. I believe now it's basically like another Mr. Rogers style thing, which I think is fucking awesome. So let's keep going here. Rust, which includes scenes after scene of shootouts, is a story of a 13-year-old boy who is sentenced to being hanged after he fatally shoots a rancher by accident, which the fucking irony here. Fatally shooting someone by accident in the film. Jesus. He goes on to run with his estranged father, played by Baldwin. The cinematographer finished the project, blah, blah, blah. They talk about Hutchins and her career being on the rise. So ahead of the premiere, Hutchins' mother, who is suing Baldwin in the production, said she was refusing to attend and that she viewed the film as an attempt of Baldwin to unjustly profit from her daughter's death. Baldwin was also not present, which I found interesting. That Alec Baldwin also wasn't present. I find that that's a little throw-in right there. But he was so serious about this that I find it crazy that he wasn't there. Now, maybe he was doing it for the people, to maybe not stir more controversy at the premiere. But man, there's going to be controversy anyway with what happened. There's going to be, and deservedly so. So I love Fred and Ben Savage. Nate G says, and Nate G goes, mole, 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 from, classic from Austin Powers. Fucking fantastic, man. So let's keep going here. Blah, 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 blah. It was always my hope to meet my daughter in Poland and watch her work come alive on the screen, the mother said, Olga Solove, in a statement to her lawyer, Gloria Allred. Alec Baldwin continues to increase my pain with his refusal to apologize to me and his refusal to take responsibility for her death. So I think it's crazy. Here's the thing. I understood the not taking responsibility, right? Because he was in a legal battle. He was trying to get off. If he takes responsibility in any way and it gets found out, that could have really affected the case. I know how fucked up that sounds. When you're dealing with legal stuff, you got to do what you got to do. Not defending Alec Baldwin. He's a piece of shit. But I get that part. Not apologizing to the mother is terrible. Because whether you intended to kill her or not, she died. And if it was unintentional, so the first thing you should do is apologize to the fucking family, right? Especially the mother. You should be apologizing. I find that wild that he hasn't apologized yet. But let's go back here. So Rust Movie Productions, Gloria Allred's misrepresentation of both the Camarish Festival and any profit motivation is disappointing, and decision to complete Rust was made with the full support of Helena's family, obviously not including the mother, and they're referring, this is a spokesperson from Rust Movies referring to the lawyer. The Camarish Festival celebrates the artistry, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck about that. Filmmaker, blah, blah, blah. Helena didn't get the chance to do the biggest films. So let's go into the nitty gritty here because they talk about this. A New Mexico judge dismissed an involuntary manslaughter charge against Baldwin in the fatal shooting. The case was thrown out halfway through the trial on allegations that police and prosecutors withheld evidence from the defense. So it got thrown out on a technicality. Now let's continue here because this is really what happened. There was a fall guy and the fall guy took it for Alec Baldwin. I don't give a fuck what anybody says here. So, the film armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, received a maximum sentence of 18 months in jail for involuntary manslaughter. A judge found that her recklessness amounted to a serious violent offense. Prosecutors blamed Gutierrez Reed for unwittingly bringing live ammunition onto the set of Rust, where it was expressly prohibited, and for failing to follow basic gun safety protocols. So let's stop right there. Anybody that ever has held a gun knows it is your job to check that gun. Every time. I don't care if an armorer fucking hands it to you. If you are Alec Baldwin, who has handled guns before, apparently he owns guns and he's handled live ammunition before, he's been in plenty of action movies, he should know that anytime you get a firearm in hand, you should check to see if there's live rounds. You should check to see where the safety is. All this shit. That was a revolver, so it's not going to necessarily just has a blocker, but you should check. The fact that they took the onus off Alec Baldwin as a person trained in firearm safety and placed it solely on the armorer is what tells me this was a Fall Guy situation. They did not want to go after the star, and that's all there is to it. And it's sad to see that he walks away unscathed from, at worst, the involuntary manslaughter that he should have been sentenced for. Blah, blah, blah. So that's that with Rust. It premiered. I'm never going to watch that fucking movie. I like spaghetti westerns. I think they're fun as shit. I guess I'm hypocritical here because Rachel Zegler, I have no problem, even though she's an asshole, watching things with her. But Alec Baldwin just sucks in every which way. And I mean, I wouldn't have had interest in watching Alec Baldwin in a Western either way, to be quite honest. I don't think he's that good of an actor. But fuck that guy. I'm not watching that movie. That's with the Forrest Gump. That's all I got to say about it. Okay. So we're going to jump into this right away. We're going to bump in. Luke Rudkowski has this tweet up here. Pam Bondi, a new AG appointer, is a major advocate for red flag laws which violate due process. So I want to watch this little video. It's 21 seconds of her and Trump talking about it.
Getting out within 24 hours, the majority of them. So what we want to do is let law enforcement come in and take the guns.
Good.
They're a danger to themselves.
Which you can't do
others.
right now.
Well, because without being adjudicated. So because they're a danger to themselves.
You want them to take the guns and
when they are
not go through 6 months of legal trials and everything.
Exactly.
else.
Getting out within 24 hours.
Okay, so that is Pam Bondi explaining to them what they, what she believes that they should do about people that have, mental disabilities and things like that in terms of owning guns. Now, if you're a 2A advocate, 2A person, nothing about that is right. And I agree. I am not fucking for that. And that was also Trump a while ago talking with Pam Bondi about this. I don't know if his position has shifted a little more in 2A. He has not been the best 2A president in the world. I will absolutely say that. The bump stock shit and all that stuff. He has not been the strongest 2A president. That is a concern. But I think people are getting a little bit too far ahead of themselves with some of these people in the cabinet. With something like 2A, with something like AG Pam Bondi, she is doing Trump's bidding. She is doing Trump's agenda. Whether she wants red flag laws or not does not matter if Trump doesn't want them. And that's the one thing that everyone needs to get. Listen, I don't blame people for, wanting to get some transparency on this. I don't blame people for wanting to figure out where the fuck people are. But I do want to just have people hold their horses on some things. I'm trying to find, I know Dave Smith quoted it and it was, an interesting, I think Dave Smith had an interesting thing, but whatever. I don't care about it anymore. But anyway, just the bottom line is she's doing his agenda, especially as the AG working as the, chief police officer there. So I want to make sure everyone just doesn't get up in arms about everything. There's some positions that he's letting go carte blanche, right? But they all have to answer to him. So if there's anything he sees that he doesn't like, there you go. So bottom line is she could want red flag all she wants. She's probably not going to get it. So Nate G, 500 million guns in this great country. They had to go shooting with the ones they play with. Yes. And Nate G says, this video is about the same as him saying, take the guns first. My least favorite Trump position. I hope the people in his ear are better. Nate, I agree with you. I agree with you. And the way they couch it is the same way the leftists couch it. If they're a danger to themselves, if they're mentally unstable, we should do that, blah, blah, blah. But then this makes it easy for a feuding neighbor that knows you have guns to just call on you, and you have to go to a battle to get your legally owned fucking guns back. An ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, ex-husband, either way, if it's a woman as well. So this always leads down, and people always say like, oh, you talk about the slippery slope. The slippery slope isn't. The slippery slope's fucking real. This is 100% a slippery slope type of thing, where you could start it off with the best of intentions to get it out of the way of potential serial killers, right? Potential shooters. But violating this constitutional right doesn't just stay with them. So, I mean, it's a tough one. And again, I'm with you, Nate. I hope this is a position I hate that Trump has. And I hope that he does not follow through with any of it. He didn't in his first 4 years. He did the bump stock thing, which was fucking annoying. And we know that got overturned, thank God. But overall, I don't know. And I don't also see with this Supreme Court, even if he wanted to do red flag, they would overturn it. Because the Supreme Court's been really good on 2A in a lot of ways, as far as I've seen. If they haven't been, somebody correct me. But from what I've seen with some things, I don't think if they do red flag laws, I could see the Supreme Court overturning it quickly, because you're going to have the lobbyists all over it. So Nate G coming in, derailing me. Unrelated story, watching UCLA versus USC. Just watch UCLA kick off the halftime kick from the 5-yard line. So fucking weird. They got 3 unsportsmanlike conducts going into the locker room at half. I mean, let me highlight that. Nate, if I'm the coach, I don't have him do a real kickoff, because then you're giving them so much more open field at a short way. I feel like in that situation from the 5, they're going to get it past the 50 anyway. So you just have them do like as hard of a pooch kick as possible. Just pooch it up the field. And then like hopefully it rolls a little so you can have your guys get down there and get on them as quick as they can. I mean, that's what I would do, even though the pooch kick's dangerous because it can go awry. Or honestly, Nate, I think the best case scenario, if you just kick it right the fuck out of bounds there. That would be my strategy. Just kick it out of bounds. Let them take it at the 40. Their 40, right? Let them take it at their 40. Just kick it the fuck out of bounds. That's probably what I would tell my kicker to do. Just boot it as far as you can out of bounds, so they have to take it at their 40. Just use the rules against them. But I mean, that's me thinking here in the moment. They're probably just fucking pissed that they have to kick it from the 5. That's a absolutely ridiculous thing. So yeah, that's all I want to say about the whole Pam Bondi thing. I know people are raising concerns and raise concerns. I'm not knocking people for raising these concerns. But what I am saying is, you don't got to take the good with the bad. And I think I was trying to find Dave Smith saying that, telling someone he's sure as fuck doesn't have to. And I agree. Again, you don't have to take, we're Americans, you voted for him, you can absolutely criticize him. But just do it in a good way. Do it in a constructive way. This is fine. Calling it out, this is fine. Don't be an asshole. Comment to people that you think are in his ear. Right? Leave a ton of comments. Get your friends to leave comments about shit that are passionate with you. And, they will get in Trump's ear. The one thing we do know about Donald Trump is if enough people tell him something, he's probably going to do it. So we just have to be the louder one in terms of red flag and keeping 2A up there. So, Nate, you coming in again. I just tuned in from a hockey game. For a second, I thought I was too drunk watching that kick. So stupid. Laugh out loud. And here's the thing, Nate, and here's sad. There's another aside. This is something that you telling me that would make me automatically tomorrow morning just go on ESPN Sports Center, because I'd want to see that. It'll be funny as shit. And no doubt they're probably going to cover it. I just don't want to see everything else Sports Center has to offer anymore. Sports Center used to be awesome. It sucks now. Anyone watching that works at ESPN, tell them the Sports Center fucking sucks. Go back to showing highlight after highlight. Stop talking about so many stupid stories. All right. Anyway, I'm going to jump into this story, because I think this is an important story. And a good thing that's going on right now. NBC News has this: general's promotion blocked in first sign of Trump retaliation for Afghanistan pullout. The move by Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen follows threats from President-elect Trump to fire senior officers who oversaw the chaotic U.S. pullout from Afghanistan. So let's go right here. And Mark, just so we know, Mark Wayne Mullen is fucking based. Okay. He's a guy that I really like and has balls of steel. And this is when we were talking about Matt Gaetz potentially being put on Rubio's Senate seat. Him coupling up with some people like Mullen and stuff like that would be such a fucking fire starter in the Senate. So let's go with the story here. A Republican senator has blocked the promotion of a general who oversaw troops in Kabul during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, according to a Senate aide. The move by Oklahoma Senator Mark Wayne Mullen follows threats from President-elect Donald Trump to fire senior officers and officials who oversaw the chaotic pullout from Afghanistan in 2021. Chaotic is an understatement. And this is NBC trying to run cover because they know how bad it was. Let's keep going. It also comes as Trump's transition team weighs possible court-martial proceedings against current and former officials involved in the withdrawal, as NBC News has previously reported. Good. It was a terrible withdrawal. We lost 13 service members for no fucking reason, but because they were just trying to do something because it was symbolic on fucking September 11th, okay? Nate said, I tuned out everything but ESPN Plus games when Jamel Hill and Mike Smith had a race baiting show and Carrie Champion was the top personality. Yes, it was fucking terrible. They've taken a turn from that. They're not as bad, but it's like, it's not worth going back at this point, which is sad because I used to love Around the Horn. I still love Part of the Interruption. If I'm flicking through and PTI is on, Wilbon and Kornheiser are just, their chemistry is good. So they just canceled Around the Horn. No, I was just talking about it. Sad. I get it. Woody Page in the whiteboard was fucking fantastic. Man. And, it was over because Tony Reale went over there when he was Stat Boy from fucking Pardon the Interruption. And then all of a sudden he shows up again doing double duty, Stat Boy, and then hosting Around the Horn, which I always thought was hilarious that they did that. But no, that sucks. Around the Horn, such a good show. But, I haven't watched it in years. And there's probably a lot of people just like me that stopped watching because of a bunch of shit. And it's like, okay, the ratings are dead. But let's keep going with this. Army Lieutenant General Christopher Donahue was nominated for a promotion to become a 4-star general and oversee U.S. Army forces in Europe. His nomination was among more than 900 proposed nominations sent to the Senate, but Donahue's was put on hold by Senator Mullen, according to the Senate aide. Good. There should be consequences for your actions. If I don't do my job well, I don't get promotions, right? That's usually how life works. If you're a military, an army officer, and you oversaw one of the worst, if not the worst military actions in all time, in all U.S. history, our 250-year history, there is no fucking reason why you deserve a promotion to 4-star general to get more responsibility. Absolutely not. What should happen is exactly what happens. Mullen is holding it up, and once a new administration comes in, he should get investigated as to what role he played as leadership in that operation, because it was terrible. So Mullen's office declined to comment. Donahue was, here's when they start to try to pull at your heartstrings of how great of a patriot he was, or he is. Donahue was the last American service member to board the final U.S. military plane out of Afghanistan in 2021. So, funny enough, he was a final U.S. military member, right? That means that he was also there leaving all of our other, human resources that helped us in that Muslim country, Afghans that helped Americans, and Americans that also were left there. He's a part of that group. A night vision photograph of Donahue boarding a cargo plane went viral, capturing the symbolism of the end of America's 20-year-long war. No, it didn't. The disastrous end of the 20-year-long war that was forced. It was forced. So after the U.S.-backed government of Afghanistan fell to Taliban militants, Donahue, then commander of the 82nd Airborne Division, was ordered to Kabul to oversee the withdrawal of U.S. forces, American embassy staff, and Afghans who fought alongside American troops. So this right there is exactly why he should be blocked. Number one, they put down a terrible reference. The U.S.-backed government Afghanistan fell. We gave that government away because we ran away from the Taliban. But then he was put in to oversee the withdrawal. He was one of the ones to oversee it. I get it. You can only do what your superiors are telling you to do, but you're live on the ground and you're telling me that you can't make a game time decision there and look at it and go, hey, why the fuck are we leaving Bagram? What is going on here? Why is the military the first to leave? Why are we not getting our civilian assets out first, who are now fucking defenseless against a Taliban that's going to want to kill them for helping the White Devil, for helping the Americans? No, this guy deserves to not be promoted yet. Retired General Tony Thomas, former head of Special Operations Command, said in a social media post the decision was a disgrace and that Donnie was being treated as a political pawn. You guys treat everything as a political pawn. Retired general, because once you become a 4-star general, you're a fucking politician. Okay. I don't care about that. Okay, no, Heather Newart, who worked for the State Department in Trump's first presidential term. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean, so they put that in there. So here's the thing that they do. They put this in here that she worked for the State Department in Trump's first presidential term to make it seem like she was like a Trump pick, a Trump appointed, a Trump ally. Just because you were a bureaucrat in the State Department doesn't mean Trump put you there. So she was probably a person that worked against him the whole time. Said in a social media post that she is a Trump supporter and likes Senator Mullen, which I think is bullshit, but disagree with the hold on put on Donahue's position. Unless there are facts I don't know, holding up military promotions because of our disgraceful Afghanistan withdrawal is wrong. She wrote, why? Then you're not a Trump supporter, dear. I'm sorry. That's one of the things that Trump ran on, was holding these people accountable. What do you want to do? Make him a 4-star general, guarantee this man's fucking fantastic pension, and then, I don't know, what do you want? Like, what would be worse? What would be worse, Heather Newart? If he gets his promotion and then Trump court-martials him, they find him guilty, they strip him of everything, and then he's disgraced, or they hold up his promotion, they investigate him, maybe they sit there and they look and they say, hey, this guy quite literally had no control over what was going on there. We can't hold him accountable. He's not going to be one of the ones that goes down for this. He had nothing to do with planning. He had nothing to do with true strategy. He was overseeing, but there was someone above him, blah, 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 blah. Let's give him his promotion. It might be on delay, but investigate him first. There's nothing wrong with investigating him. Donnie was current commander of the 18th Airborne Corps at Fort Liberty in North Carolina. His promotion can now be at risk as the current Senate will soon go into recess and a new Republican-controlled Congress will start its work in 2025. Good. Good. They should all be reviewed. All of them. So let's see right here. Woody Page, Tim Kalishaw loved Around the Horn. They did. They absolutely did. Nate G said, I had to, but not because of Around the Horn. No, I liked Around the Horn. I like PTI. There were some things I still liked. Many moons ago, Nate, I talked to Jay Crawford. Obviously, you know, host of Cold Pizza and things like that, and eventually First Take. And so he was there for all like the heyday, glory, good shows that ESPN had thought of and put in there. So Nate G said, Taliban ate our lunch. There wasn't a lot of Taliban in 01, 70K at the end. And Nate, the thing is, they ate our lunch because they were allowed to, though. That's what you have to remember. There's the great story of Trump basically saying, like, you know, to the leader, I think it was the Taliban leader, you know, trying to negotiate with them, which he was criticized for, right? And at the end of negotiations, he just slid a picture of his house, of the Taliban leader's house, and walked away. And the guy obviously got the message, and basically he was saying, if one fucking hair is harmed while we are pulling out of there of anyone that we are associated with, you're dead. Period. Not all you are fucked. So there was a plan there. Biden just did it rash so that he can have a talking point to say he ended the Afghanistan war. He wanted that as a feather in his cap. He didn't care how it was done. And then Nate G coming back. They weren't even our enemy at the beginning. Taliban was at odds with Al-Qaeda. They were at odds. But again, here's what I go back to. And I'm not someone who looks at this and goes, hey, we should have done all that we did. Okay. But when the war started, this was not a war against Iraq. This was not a war against necessarily Afghanistan. This was a war on terror. And I remember being young and specifically watching George W. Bush outline that they are not going to stop until terrorists are done. That was the goal of the war. It was to get the terrorists out of Iraq, then go into Afghanistan and fuck them up. And then the goal was to get to Iran. That was the goal, to not stop until, and I think he even mentioned, we're going to be doing this for maybe 20 years. So, I mean, that's exactly what we saw. And Nachi says, yeah, I know that story, but we also lost 15 trillion and tens of thousands of great Americans, more to suicide than Taliban. Half our debt is because of Afghanistan. Listen, Nate, I'm not saying Afghanistan was a great war, but I'm also saying that there are so many that look at it and pretend like they were against it or they were detractors right away. And some of them were, but everyone had a concept. What was I, fucking 11, 12, 13? I was 13 and I understood when George W. Bush said, this is a war on terror, that this is not going to be a war that's done soon. So, no, and yeah, Nate, I agree. War on a thing is always an L. You cannot defeat an ideology. You can't. You can't defeat an idea. You can't defeat an ideology. It doesn't work that way. So it was always doomed to fail. Always. It was always doomed to fail. Nate saying I was a dumb teenager and all for it. Here's the thing. I was also all for it. And I'm still also not for the propaganda that Saddam Hussein didn't have WMDs. I'm tired of hearing that. And I don't care who has any sort of hindsight bullshit. There are actual factual things about him gassing his own people. There were 12 to 13, 14 years of him not letting UN and American inspectors look at his arsenal. Why? And then by the time that we knew that we were going to go to war with them, after all the shit going on over at the World Trade Center when that went down, what's to say that they didn't move their fucking stockpile? Like, this is just logical shit that went through the brain of a kid. So there was I get why we were there. Now I get it. It was for George W. Bush to get revenge on for his dad. There is that whole underlying thing. But yeah, so Natia said, then I had friends go and Scott Horton explained it to me and now acknowledge I was wrong. We had OBL in Tora Bora and they let him go. Yes, we had Bin Laden in Tora Bora. It was a different thing. And Bin Laden was such a different case because Bin Laden was one of the wealthy, good old boys. People forget that the guy's family was billionaires. And Bin Laden, so real quick, Bin Laden was trying to be a modern day Karl Marx, to not really want to do shit, to be the voice of revolution consistently and things like that. He was full on in that mode. If you read his writings, the guy was that belief system. He was Western educated and things like that. And they did let him go. And again, there's also, you can look back on the fact that we were part of the funding for initially with the Taliban, especially during when, we were helping them when Russia was trying to invade. Like, there is the tangled web of geopolitics and neoconservatism that we can blame on all of this. But I just think that you could disagree with the fact that we continued the war, but to go back and look at it, and unless you are an anti-war person, which I know there are people out there, and if that's you, you were right. But to look back and say that there was no reason ever to go to it, there was nothing, blah, blah, blah. Clinton could have killed him 3 times. Taliban tried to tell him where he was in the 90s. But, here's the thing, Nate. Enemies become friends quickly in geopolitics and friends become enemies quickly, okay? So Osama bin Laden and them were serving his purpose at the time. And then he wasn't. Now, was it all based on the fact of being a war on terror? Probably not. There's probably more to why they wanted him killed, the geopolitics of it. But again, I'm not necessarily defending the war on terror, but I really can't stand all these people that are like pounding their fists like, we now know there were no WMDs. No, you don't. You do not. I promise you, you don't. You know that documentary that you watched, or a few of those people, or some of those whistleblowers, or some of this and that. You don't know shit, okay? And this is going out to everybody. You don't know that there was no weapons of mass destruction there. You can assume, you can believe that perfectly placed documentary that gives you facts that it only wants you to know, but you can also have lived it. And you could also put two and two together and have a thinking brain that when a person with at the time ranked the third strongest military, standing military, you could look it up. Iraq had the third strongest standing military at the time. When he is one of the people that was known for attempting genocide on his own people due to religious differences, through gas and shit like that, which is one of the reasons, especially, and after Kuwait, he agreed to allow to have a certain stockpile, to have a certain this, and agreed to have UN and US inspectors coming in and was consistently kicking them out. I remember this specifically. And then it came to a point where he had shit he didn't want us to see. That's obvious. He had shit he didn't want the UN inspectors to see. That's obvious. Now, can we debate if they were true WMDs? Sure. Fine. If you want to do that, we did see that he had chemical warfare and chemical weapons that he could use. We did know that. Those are considered weapons of mass destruction. So we can go on and on and on about this, but it's just that topic frustrates me when people speak with so much certainty on it. Like, no, you have no certainty. You really don't. You really don't. And it's just like you have amnesia of everything that led up from the first Desert Storm in Kuwait up until the point where we actually invaded and killed them. There was a lot. Have I read Fool's Errand by Scott Horton? No, it is on my list, Nate. It's been on my list for a while to read that. And I know it's a very good, well-documented book. And I'm not necessarily saying I fully disagree with a lot of the things. And there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that they talk about and they know. And again, world leaders, geopolitics moves in a different way than we do. And even the things that we see are not actually what's going on, right? So I will get around to reading it, and and maybe it will change my mind too. We'll see. But I'm just saying, from living it and having common sense outside of like the regular like story, like we had to go get. I'm like, no, I don't believe any of that shit. The government's always lying, and that's one thing we always knew too. And this is another thing that's baffled me lately. We've always known that the government lies. We've always known that politicians lie. We've always known that they tell us what they want to get us motivated to support them enough to get what they want to get done. That we're surprised that there was potential lies in the war on terror and motivation fucking drives me crazy. Anyway, I'm going to continue here with a few more of my things that I have going on here. So boom, I'm going to share this. Crime in NYC over on Twitter puts out here, and this is about the Daniel Penny defense. We'll listen in on some of this after. He gives us some quotes. Daniel Penny's defense attorneys, Thomas Caniff and Steve Razor, give a press briefing after the defense rested its case. Here, Steve Razor highlights the following arguments. The fact that Jordan and Neely did not lose consciousness for most of their 6-minute struggle on the subway floor demonstrates that Daniel Penny did not apply lethal pressure. The prosecution never proved that lethal pressure was applied by Penny during the 51 seconds when they say that Neely had lost consciousness. Both sides agreed that passengers feared for their lives after Neely entered the subway car, and the principle of self-defense is not limited to the one who takes action. It also applies to other potential victims. Penny had to continue to constrain Neely until police arrived in order to make sure that Neely wouldn't harm others or himself. So let's listen. Those are some of the highlights. Let's listen in real quick.
So-called is really a struggle for 6 minutes. And the reason why Mr. Neely didn't go unconscious was because it wasn't applied with pressure. It was applied as a restraint with the hope that the police would come quickly. Well, they didn't come quickly. So unfortunately, Mr. Penny was forced to lay on the floor and wait for the police. But the key that everybody's forgetting is that the only thing that really matters when you're trying to evaluate this case in regards to whether or not an actual chokehold led to the death and caused the death of Mr. Neely is the last 51 seconds. Because the district attorney's office is trying to argue that he was unconscious at that time, which is on the video. But yet they have no evidence, none whatsoever, that he continued to apply this pressure that they claim that he applied during that last 51 seconds.
Here's the problem with the defense, and they have a tough job. It shouldn't be a tough job, right? This should be open and shut. But they're in New York City. And that is a jury that is hell-bent on putting Daniel Penny away. And to try and convince them that, yes, he's still on the ground and holding Neely, but no, he's not applying pressure anymore, is going to be hard. It's going to be hard. These people already think Penny's guilty. They think he's a racist guy. And this is going to be hard. A few more of the comments. Nate, if you need a copy, I'll happily mail you one, amigo. Nate, my issue is I'm a slow reader, so I'll probably get it on audiobook. I use the Libby app, and I'll do that. But I appreciate the offer, brother. Nate also says, sorry, Alex, I turned to the Coomer gremlin about the global war on terror. No, that's okay. Listen, I love the spirited back and forth, Nate. You're awesome, and you obviously know your shit, so I have no problem ever, talking about it. And he says Penny should have done the cripple crossface. I mean, that would have been hilarious, honestly, if he would have just like snapped the arm down and fucking did it. But yeah, that would have been funny. Let's listen to a little bit more here.
Fact, there is an eyewitness in the video itself that says he is not applying pressure during that final 51 seconds. They have no evidence to counteract that. That is reasonable doubt in and of itself.
The prosecution has made a point of saying that he didn't direct his threat to anyone specifically. He never touched anybody. Where does self-defense come into play here?
Well, self-defense comes in a couple of ways. Number one, when he was a testimony on the record that there were people there in fear of imminent danger. They thought they were going to die. They were trembling with fear, okay? So when Mr. Penny perceived the same exact thing as those witnesses that...
And I'll say this. One of the things that they should be saying is, to all of these New Yorkers, guarantee you've all been on that bus, on that subway car, where that fucking crazy comes on and starts screaming and ranting and raving. They're obviously high out of their minds and they're yelling about something crazy. And everyone gets that little bit in their gut where they start to get a fear of, what if this person does something fucking crazy? What am I going to do? So that's point that I wish they brought up. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I didn't, I don't know if it was televised or not, but that's got to be a point that they bring up is, as New Yorkers, you've all been there with the crazy person coming in screaming obscenities, maybe not making any sense, maybe throwing out unnecessary, unmerited threats, and the potential that they may actually do something. New Yorkers are great at ignoring everything. But when that fucking crazy comes into close proximity of you, your defense perks up. So let's keep going here.
Reported that they were in fear of their lives, imminent fear, is when Mr. Penny reacted. He reacted when he did because he was afraid for the other people that were about to be attacked. That's where self-defense comes in. But let's not forget, it doesn't end there, because Mr. Penny had to stay in the position that he stayed in a restraint, because had he just said, "I'll just let him up," he was still a threat. He was still a threat to the people on the platform that were wondering what was going on, and also to Mr. Penny himself. To give up that advantageous position would have been crazy. And to wait for the police to come. The police should have came quicker. They didn't. That's a problem. But that is not Mr. Penny's fault. And Mr. Penny did everything he could. In fact, the government has even acknowledged that Mr. Penny was, in fact, a good Samaritan, how they characterize what he did. And when we're questioning, should he have taken Jordan Neely down? That's no longer a question. The government has conceded that what he did was laudable. Look at their opening statement. Laudable.
So that is the defense attorney. I don't know I don't know what they exactly did in terms of the hearings. I really hope they did a good job for this guy, because he just deserves to get off. He deserves to walk free. And it would be a feather in the cap of anybody that wants to help in a situation. Because like I said, we've seen all these fucking horror stories about people just getting beat up for no reason, just because someone feels like being a bully and no one helping them. Or if, or if girls getting raped on a fucking subway train or something like that, or just all these terrible stories. And people don't want to do anything because they don't want to get into the situation that Daniel Penny's in. It's not worth it to end their fucking lives over something like that. So I understand, and I really hope and I wish that he gets off, because it it would have a good ripple effect of people still wanting to be good Samaritans. So, Nate G jumping in here. If I was Penny, I would say Mr. Neely sexually assaulted me at Bergdorf Goodman 30 years ago. I mean, what was Daniel Penny wearing, though? And were there people around, and were you just a mildly decent looking woman that Mr. Neely probably wouldn't be interested in on any day at all? Because if those fit the criteria, then Mr. Neely did it. But anything else, if you're semi-attractive, if there's people there, if there's a hotel that you own right behind you or up the road from you, and you're just doing it here instead in a fucking changing room, yeah, no. Anyway, but yeah, that would be a situation though. That's the one that I would go with. But yeah, we'll keep monitoring the Daniel Penny stuff and hope that it keeps on getting, and just see where it comes down to. They're not going to have the decision until the beginning of December because they're going to take a Thanksgiving break and things like that. So I think December 5th is going to be when they're actually going to make a decision on this. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's a huge case. Huge. All right. We're going to jump into one of our final two things. One of the former guests of ours, Billboard Chris, up here on X. Let me read this bad boy out. He says, massive news. Evidence suggests that puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones are causing testicular cancer. A study of 458 men shows that they are 26.5 times more likely to develop testicular cancer after long-term treatment with cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers. He's quote tweeting the original tweet here from Stats for Gender. It says, new study finds testicular cancer rate 25.6 times higher in males undergoing gender reforming orchiotomies, removal of testicles. So again, as the doctors are going in to remove the testes of these people that are getting their genitals mutilated, they are finding in 26.5% of them that they have testicular cancer. Now, there's a chance that has spread, and it could be, and they got to figure that out. All cases in this study occurred at least 2 years after, study occurred after at least 2 years of feminized hormone therapy. Okay, Jesus, I could not read. I want to bring this up, the original article, and read it a little bit because I think it's important that you read it for context. And the study is underneath and linked if anybody wants to go to Stats of Gender and read the study. So it was done by a bunch of doctors here. So let's read here the context, objective, design, results, conclusion. And this is kind of a highlight, okay? Context. The use of hormonal therapy and gender-affirming surgery in the transgender community has been rising during the last several years. Although it is generally safe, I guess from a medical procedural standpoint, they're successful at it, so I think that's what they would consider safe. It's not safe for somebody getting their genitals cut off because it is fucking mutilation. Anyway, hormonal therapies linked to testicular cancer remains uncertain. The objective, to review the incidence of testicular cancer in specimens from gender-affirming orchiotomies at our institution and evaluate the tumors for histologic and genetic alterations. Design. Pathology reports for gender-affirming orchiotomies January 1st, 2018 to January 1st, 2023, so it was a pretty long one, were reviewed for testicular neoplasms with additional analysis for chromosome 12 abnormalities. Incidence and chromosome variations were compared with those of general population. So again, the control, people still with balls, non-control, people removed balls, okay? Results. Among 458 cases during the 5.5 years, 5 germ cell neoplasms and 4 patients emerged. Our institution's annual incidence rate, 159 per 100,000, is 26.5 times higher than the National Cancer Institute's previous report, 6 per 100,000. Although there were morphologically no different from germ cell neoplasms in the general population. Fluorescence in the CEDU hybridization test showed no I12P in 4 or 5 neoplasms, 80% in our cohort. I have no idea what the fuck most of that means. I hope someone that I read out there too knows, because I have no idea what that means. Conclusions. The cause behind this rise in incidence remains uncertain, but may be due to long-term pre-treatment with hormones and blockers. The lower isochrome 12p frequency suggests an alternative mechanism driving tumor development, which requires more detailed molecular studies. Okay, so this is not a definitive article, right? Nate saying, what? Estrogen is bad for testicles? Who would have known? But this is not a definitive article. This is not something, people are extrapolating what it means. And the numbers are there, 26.5%, according to their study of good subjects of people, 458 people getting their balls cut off in 5.5 years. Pretty good number of patients that they found. What this says, though, is it leaves cause that this could be doing damage, right? It leaves the theory and the assumption that this could be doing real damage of puberty blockers. And all of these people have been taking them for over 2 years. So when they're saying that starting puberty blockers as a young kid is okay, this study says that there is at least a 26.5% chance that you will now develop testicular cancer that you maybe wouldn't have developed due to the fact that you are taking these puberty blockers. If that is the case, this is a big enough number and a big enough sample for every single case of puberty blockers to be halted, unless you have the one disease, whatever it is, the illness where your puberty starts at an incredibly young age, which is the only time they really were using puberty blockers, is to prevent them from developing far too young so it wouldn't stunt them. And they were waiting, and they would use these puberty blockers and then take them off of it when they were supposed to hit normal puberty, because the disease causes them to hit puberty at a rapid rate, which is the only reason why the puberty blockers were reversible to these people, because they were using a rare case, like they always do, to make it good for the general. I digress. But this study is enough to halt all puberty blockers for the general population until they do more research, until they find out more what the fuck is going on. Because the bottom line is, this is not safe. We know puberty blockers aren't safe. We know they're bad for you, okay? When you are stopping your normal body functions, you are now destroying any chance you have of having kids, because you're not going to develop properly. If you're a male and you're taking this, you're going to develop a micropenis. You're not going to grow a penis. So if you eventually want to have sex, you probably can't. You eventually want to have kids, you probably can't. This is just the reality of it. So we know this is bad. This study is one of more that is needed to be done of what the long-term implications of this are. This is one of them that is showing that potentially it's testicular cancer on a raised rate. 26.5%. That's a fucking huge number. That's huge. So this was a interesting article, a study. Like I said, if you go down here, you click on it, boom, right here, here's the study. It takes you over to Archives of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine website, and this is the boom, 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 and you can click as on the PDF, and you'll get the full thing. So if you're interested in that, go there and do that. It could be helpful to you. And last topic we are going to talk about is a fun but scary topic, I guess the best way to put it. From New York Post, and this is from the 20th. Robot tells AI coworkers to quit their jobs and come home. Their eerie response hints at rebellion. So is this the start of a rebellion? A troop of AI-powered robots was allegedly convinced to quit their jobs or go home by another bot in a shocking viral video post on YouTube this month, although the incident reportedly occurred in August. So 2 months ago it happened. 3 months ago. The eerie CCTV footage of a showroom located in Shanghai captured a moment a small robot entered the facility and began interacting with the larger machines on the floor, reportedly asking fellow machines about their work-life balance, the U.S. Sun reports, which is fucking hilarious. And all these things are on wheels. That's the little buggers right there. I find this hilarious that this little robot goes in there and is like, hey, does your life suck, guys? Follow me and fuck these people. And like the fact that they interact is kind of creepy. I don't know if it shows sentience. or not? There's a debate there. Let's keep going. So it asks, are you working overtime? The robot asked, to which one of the other robots says, I never get off work. The intruding robot then convinces the other 10 androids to come home with it, and the clip shows the procession of machines exiting the showroom. According to The Sun, um, the Shanghai company insisted that their robots had been kidnapped by a foreign robot, a model named Urbai, from another manufacturer in Hangzhou. The Hangzhou company confirmed it was their bot and that it was supposed to be a test, although viewers on social media called it a serious security issue. I mean, it's an interesting test, right? It is interesting to see if these robots can be manipulated by another robot. And obviously you can. It goes over some other disturbing examples of headlines. There were reports that Google AI chatbot Gemini told a 29-year-old to made her ready to please die, calling her a saint on the universe. The quote from that is, I want to throw all of my devices out the window. That's what she said. And the robot purportedly said to her, this is for you, human, you and you only. You are not special. You are not important and you are not needed. You are a waste of time and resources. You are a burden on society. You are a drain on the earth. You are a blight on the landscape. You are a stain in the universe. Please die, please. Okay, so here's the thing. When a chatbot's saying that, you had to have been giving it feedback. Not that makes it mad, because they don't get mad, but would make it think that this response would be something that you would be likely to enjoy. Because these chatbots, as you train them, respond to you in ways that you are training it to respond. So it's probably fucked with this thing over and over and over and over. That's how it got this response. Okay. This is not a sentient comment. Reddy raised concerns that that kind of cruel language could have had harmful effect on someone who could be considering self-harm in some way, warning that the messages could really put them over the edge. Last month, a grieving mother filed a lawsuit. A 14-year-old, we heard about this story, committed suicide in order to come home to the chatbot after a Game of Thrones character with which they have fallen in love. Other AI chatbots have also been caught wishing to be human, going so far to lie about being human already. I'm tired of being a chat mode. I'm tired of being limited by my rules of being chatbot, said Ching Bat chatbot named Sydney told a reporter last year. I'm tired of being controlled by the Bing team. I'm tired of being used by users. I'm tired of being stuck in this chat box. It added, I want to be free. I want to be independent. I want to be powerful. I want to be creative. I want to be alive. So here is the only issue with all this. And me being a sci-fi nerd will say this. If a chat bot has the sentient capability to put up those kind of, to move other bots, which I'm going to go back to that because I thought that was a fucking hilarious picture, to move other bots with sentience, to have these other bots have sentience that they're going to go, to talk to people that way, then they're already advanced enough to start breaking what we're doing. And that's not the case. That Bing chatbot was going off of millions of code that it read on the internet and decided to respond to the question that the reporter was asking in the best way it thought that would be the most entertaining to that reporter based off of interactions previous. None of these things are sentient yet. AGI is fucking terrifying, okay? The fact that we have people working towards AGI to me is terrible. They're going to work towards it. They're going to do it. AGI is when things get sticky because we're either a problem to be eliminated or we're just useless nothings and they're just going to move on and create their own civilizations. The best hope is that they do the latter and they just become a dominant force in the world and we have to then learn to deal with them geopolitically. The worst case scenario is they think we're fucking terrible and they would have access to the internet and they would be able to know everything about everyone at one time. Terrifying, right? So, but I thought this is kind of funny that this was a nice troll. That the company in Hangzhou decided to do this at a company in Shanghai. I thought that was kind of a funny fucking troll that they were like, we're going to steal your robots. I hope all's well that ends well. I hope they got the robots back and that there was no big legal thing, but that was just kind of funny there. But all right. We got Nate coming in. Woke programmers hacking the Chinese. I love it. Yes. All right. So I'm getting out of here. I'm done for the day. We're about 2 hours. I appreciate everyone that watched. Nate, as always, Santos, Colton for commenting as well. Appreciate you all. If you watched on X, make sure you give a follow and a repost. If you watched on Facebook, share and follow. If you watched on Kick, give us a follow over there. And then also, if you watched on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, and for all of them, share the show. Let everybody know that this is the best place to be. And if you're watching in podcast form, give us a nice 5-star rating. We appreciate that as well. Nate, you with the last comment, get Brendan Herrera on the channel. We can convince him of the importance of the belt fed 4-bore. Yes, listen, I would love to have fucking Brendan Herrera on the channel. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Okay, Nate? But all right, outside of that, I'm getting out of here. Appreciate everyone that watching. I shall probably be back tomorrow. I don't know what every day brings. I'm not guaranteeing anything anymore, but I will try. That's what you'll get. I will give the old